Hello. I accidentally doxed myself, and this is a take two. so, there's been a lot going on. I am waiting to get approved, and my hat is sliding off my head. You're going to see my big old bald head in a minute. I'm waiting for the cardiologist to approve or not approve my surgery. And I have an appointment with my oncologist to go over the treatment plan next week. And my car decided to die on me. So I'm waiting to. I know what I need to do, and it's like a really minor thing that I probably with my inept mechanical skills can probably fix myself. But I'm not the most mechanically inclined person in the world, so I definitely don't have the money to have a mechanic come over and fix it. But I looked it up on YouTube, and it looks like it's a pretty simple thing. I had to go get some pliers to do what needs to be done, and it looks like it's a really simple thing. So, it's a Subaru. Subarus are meant to be like fixed by ladies. So, I'm hoping it's a pretty easy thing to handle. Um, because the battery was not cheap. So, the last time I had problems with it. Um, so, I'm a little bit concerned. I have a thing. It's called a bicuspid valve, I think it is, or tricuspid valve. It sounds like a tooth, but it's something with my heart. And my primary care physician is concerned about it and wants me to go to a cardiologist and find out whether that's going to be a problem if I have a surgery. So without the surgery, there is a problem. And uh, there's a major problem. The sixth chemo really caused some problems for me. I'm very anemic right now, and I have been trying to get my iron back up. And I talked to my oncologist about it. She said, "Well, you can take over the counter stuff for it." And I know my history with iron supplements, so I was trying to get some syrup for it. When I was overseas, they actually put me on prescription iron syrup because I don't handle iron pills too well. And I couldn't find it. I finally went to Walmart to get it. And all I could find were the pills. I was like, F it, And so I got the pills. And of course, they made me sick. So I ended up getting a really bad headache yesterday. And I thought, you know, I thought it would get better, and it just got worse and worse during the day. I ended up having to take some migraine medicine, and that kind of knocked me out for the rest of the day, and I ended up missing the rest of the day of work, which is not something I wanted to do, but they were okay with it at work. I have FMLA. Um, I sent a message to my boss explaining what was going on with the iron. All of this stuff is just making me wonder if I'm going to make it. And, I have these days when I worry about that. I don't always have good days. And looking at this, is saying I have 17 minutes left. I think I'm running out of space on my phone. Um, and I think, I think I'm just, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to come through on this. I don't know. I didn't get to ring the bell. They gave me the balloons and the teddy bear that says that I completed my chemotherapy, but I didn't get to ring the bell. Not everybody gets to ring the bell. And now I don't know if I'm going to get to do the surgery. And my oncologist is mad at me for not coming in for the surgery. There was no way I was getting behind the wheel in the condition that I was in. I had a MRSA infection, and it was right next to my spine, and she says ear infection. It was not swimmer's ear. It was here, you know, and that could have infected the other cancer patients, and you know, and I'm really furious at the doctor that put the port in. I got 2 uses out of that port, and it gave me MRSA, and I'm looking at it, and it said right on there, the port had MRSA bacteria on it. It was like 100 parts per, I don't know what it was, but still, it had MRSA on it. Why did he put it in me if it had MRSA on it? You know, it's careless and everything. And because of that, it ended up spreading. He didn't put it in properly. It went into the wrong vein. And I could hear that thing when they were trying to clear it. I could hear it in my ear. I have middle ear deafness in this ear. I don't hear anything else in it, but I could hear them like squirting stuff in there and everything, and you know, so there's a clear connection to what was on the port and me getting a MRSA infection in my middle ear. And if my primary care doctor had not ordered that Hallicin injected into me, I could have died from that, because it would have gotten into my spine and given me meningitis. So, this was not some little minor swimmer's ear infection. It was I can clear that up myself. I know how to put iodine or Bactine in my outer ear. That's basic stuff. This was a major thing and stuff. And cutting me open with MRSA, with an active MRSA infection, I would have died on the operating table. But and now there's a heart murmur and everything like that. Um, my cancer level has gone from 1,000 to like 64, I think, is the number count. And I don't know what those numbers mean, but I know 64 is better than 1,000, but it's still, 64 is not a good number. It's still a number. So I don't know what's going on with it. I'm getting very frustrated with it, and I hate what's going on in this country. And that is something I wanted to address. I've been watching videos about immigration, and also like plague, and what happened at the end of the Roman Empire. And if you don't know, just to kind of give you a little basic thing and stuff, the Roman Empire didn't just like drop dead at the end of the in 476. Constantine was the Roman emperor in 335, and he moved the capital to Byzantium. And so they continued until the 1400s, and then the Ottoman Empire came in with cannons, and that was the end of the Roman Empire in the 1400s. So they lasted a long time, but in the 500s, there was the Emperor Justinian, and they had a crisis because there was a plague in 535. So a lot of people died of the plague, and that was a big crisis. They didn't know what to do with all the bodies. They stuck it in the walls of the city, and half of the people died from the plague. And it was a bubonic plague. It was the same thing that killed like a bunch of Europeans in the 1300s. It was the same plague. So basically what happened in England was the Welsh people, I had to make this snappy because I'm running out of space on my phone, but in England, it was still part of the Roman Empire, and the Welsh people were Roman citizens, and the Anglo-Saxons were starting to invade. But what happened was the Welsh people who were Romans died of the plague, and a lot of them were dead. And there's a vacuum of space. Does this sound like America right now? Kind of like COVID. So there was like all this empty land and empty houses and everything. So the Anglo-Saxons came in, and they were like, "Hey, you have a lot of empty housing, and there's opportunity to move into these empty houses, and there are jobs available. We would like to migrate to this place, and and work here and everything, and since you have jobs available." So they moved to England, and England became Anglo-Saxon after that, and that's why we call it England. So that was kind of what happened in England, and the Romans pulled out because it was not sustainable, and that's how England became England. What's going on in the United States is America is like Wales, and Wales is not really that famous for anything. No offense if you're Welsh. Sorry if your name is Jones. I had a run-in with somebody named Jones. It was the original Karen. She was a boss at a place that I used to work, and that was the original Karen. And sorry, lady, you ruined it for all the other women named Karen out there. So I'm doxing you on that. But people that are named Jones are Welsh, but Wales is not really famous for much other than the Prince of Wales, who's not really Welsh, but they kind of think they are. But it's a British royal family, Scottish, but or German or whatever they are. But anyway, they they they're not really, people don't really think of English people as being Welsh. And what is going on right now with people kicking out the immigrants that came in after COVID is kind of like if the Welsh people kicked out the Anglo-Saxons. And I don't know that a lot of things that happened in history would have happened if that had happened. And I've got to go. So bye.